Hi, my name is Samantha Freiberger, and today I'm going to be doing an informative speech on global warming and its effects. Today in my audience, I have my sisters Beth and Lily, and my friends Carrie, Sierra, and Molly. Global warming is something that people have been debating over for decades. Global warming can be defined as an increase in the overall global temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, generally attributed to the greenhouse effect caused by emissions of carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, and other pollutants. This is a growing issue in the world because of its devastating effects that it is having on the Earth today. Many people question the credibility of this phenomenon, but the facts, statistics, and the visible proof are just too profound to ignore. Global warming really began in the 1930s, but it didn't really gain national coverage until the early 1960s, when a meeting in Boulder, Colorado with officials discussed the sudden changes in weather patterns and climate. In 1967, the International Global Atmospheric Research Program was established, mainly to gather data for better short-range weather predictions and climate. The next year, it was discovered that the Antarctic ice sheets were disappearing and had collapsed and would potentially cause sea levels to rise. In 1970, we had the first Earth Day, where political movements concerning the destruction of the Earth were first discussed. In 1972, droughts plagued Africa, India, and Ukraine. The first energy crisis in 1973, when we saw a rise in prices and the beginning of an energy crisis due to an oil embargo. It was discovered in 1975 that the ozone layer was in danger due to the continuous use of aerosols and other pollutants being released into the atmosphere. There was a second energy crisis in 1979 that helped power the energy crisis movement. As global warming continued to grow, some people still didn't know the true facts about global warming until 2004. In 2004, there was a boom in media works, including books and movies, that helped shed light onto the devastating effects of global warming. One of the most prominent and most well-known global warming movies was a movie in 2006 by Al Gore called An Inconvenient Truth. Al Gore was the Vice President of the United States from 1993 to 2001, and he played a big part in the global warming movement. Global warming is a huge concern because of the harmful effects it has on the environment and ecosystems. One of the biggest effects is the impact on the weather. The higher temperatures are causing stronger heat waves, floods, and droughts. The worsening weather is causing billions of dollars in damage and are causing animals and ecosystems to quickly adapt, and sometimes they aren't able to adapt so quickly. Birds have to change their migration patterns very quickly to be able to adapt to the changing weather, and if they're not able to adapt so quickly, then we start to lose species. Animals are disappearing 114 times faster than the normal rate. The oceans are also becoming more acidic due to the absorption of excess emissions. Many parts of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia were forever destroyed because of the effects of global warming. And now there are some pictures I can show. This is with it concerns flamingos and global warming and how flamingos have to change their migration patterns because of global warming. And also this picture shows that 1/3 of the animal species will become extinct by 2050, and many of the glaciers will disappear by 2030. In this picture, it shows a starving polar bear and how with the warmer temperatures in the Arctic and Antarctic regions, it's causing ice to melt and making traveling for the polar bears much harder and making it much harder for them to find food. In this picture, it's hard to see, but it gives you details about the impacts of potential higher climates. If the temperature rises by 4 degrees Celsius, 1/3 of Bangladesh will be underwater. If the temperature goes up 5 degrees Celsius, most of the world is uninhabitable, and if the temperature goes up 6 degrees, there will be mass extinction. People can believe that global warming isn't a problem or that it doesn't exist, but the reality is that it is a problem and it needs to be fixed. People can also argue over whether or not there's anything we can do to fix it. But even though there are some things that global warming has caused that are irreversible, we just have to make a change. We know what global warming can do. We have seen it take its toll on the world for over 40 years. But now we need to step up and make a change for the better. Thank you for listening.